All right, all right, all right. He made it, guys. He made it. uh, so for those who just joined, like we had to wait a couple of minutes. Tao was in a fight. Actually, it looked quite fun with a couple of dreads. Good old
Well,
dread
not
brawl.
really a couple. Like both sides probably lost 30
Yeah. So from what I saw, like kind of even. And but let's talk about that in a minute because I believe the facts for this are kind of par. You guys probably wanna have a word about that. But let me, for those who don't know who Tau ID is, um, pretty much, I would say a legendary FC, a legendary FC in from Lowsec, right? Snuffed out, everyone kind of knows it. And I don't know, Tau, you put in mid-scale alliance. I would argue maybe it's a little bit more towards the large scale, especially when you see it in a low sec context. But yeah, if you fight null sec groups, you're a mid-sized alliance. If you fight low sec groups, you're a large-scale alliance. Maybe we should be like
I
put
mean,
some
it
hard
depends
numbers on
from
it.
what numbers you call in mid-scale and large
Yeah,
scale, right?
exactly. That's exactly what I mean, right? So
Because for CCP, for example, more than 300 is already large scale.
yeah, I would argue actually large scale starts with like 70 plus. That's where large scale starts. I definitely.
No, dude, that's small scale.
But yeah, uh, we have been flying together for a long time because you guys actually were in the Imperium officially, and before that and after that, we like worked together all the time basically. And I always thought it was a good working relationship, even though, especially the two of us had like coord issues every now and then, and we might just get into that later too. But it was always like an easygoing relationship. Beside the fact that whenever Snuff calls us, there's like a running gag with it in it. Like
Well, it always happens,
whenever Snuff calls us, like when is the timer coming out? Like it's already out, so we have to form and get
Well,
there.
that was the best times.
Yeah. I mean, best example for that is the Titan ball in Decline, right? Um,
You
but
mean
yeah,
Titan fight?
the Titan fight you guys had, and then I had a was it still Stukas, right? Was a Stuka fleet that I had
Yeah.
on grid and tried to help you guys out. But yeah, that escalated quickly. Was quite fun though.
I mean, it still was probably one of the best Titan fights in game without tie-dye.
Yeah, and why is that? Tie-dye, right? Yeah. So that's I actually talked about that earlier on my Discord. That would be like a good idea about like a video idea. Like, how does tie-dye actually influence the game? Like, what would the game be like without tie-dye? Imagine we were playing Eve and there is no tie-dye. Nobody even knew what tie-dye was, right? There's no lag, no tie-dye. It's all like the server can keep up 100% with like 10,000 people, no problem. It would be a different game, wouldn't it? Because then you can make
I
plays and stuff.
mean, not really, because otherwise goons, for example, gonna make it from one side of the map to another side in less than 5 minutes without it there, right? Because of jump bridges. And tie-dye makes them take it longer and stuff like this.
But you think that's the big factor? That the like the big blobs traveling around get stuck traveling? I mean, to a degree, maybe, but it's not that big factor, is it? I would argue the big factor is that if you take a fight and tie-dye kicks in with your supers and titans on grid, those are pinned down, like so you can't escape, and then
Well,
goons
you're
have
right.
all the time in the world to move. That's the different story, right? If they
Yeah.
wanted to kill you, or NC, or whoever, right? So I think like if there was no tie-dye at all for anyone, you could probably have an easier time get in, make a play, kill some shit, and get out. Right? Like in Decline, that was more skill based. That was the most skill based super cap fight probably ever, to be quite honest, right? Both sides committed. There was no tie-dye, so it was fairly fast paced for a super and titan brawl, and everyone had to make decisions quickly. So mistakes were made on both sides, I believe. I mean, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, we didn't even plan at the start to escalate with Supers and Titans.
I know. I could tell, right? I was
We
just showing
moved,
up
we
in
needed them
Stuttgart.
just to, like, you know, scare them off from further escalation. But then we decided, fuck it, and let's do it.
You were surprised. Let's admit it, right? We were both surprised they committed too.
Well,
We were,
yeah.
yeah. We didn't expect them to drop it. So,
I mean, props to them for doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, props to both sides there, right? Usually, like, you can usually bank a little bit on the snuff, the scare factor, yeah? If snuff shows up, usually people get a little bit scared and be a little bit more careful with what they do. And that's not trying to suck you guys off here or whatever, but, you know, it's a factor, definitely, right? In general, I think people, like, when they see you are high and local and they're feeling caps, they're usually a little bit extra nervous. So, yeah, it could have, I mean, it's probably one of those decisions that you make in that moment. And maybe 9 out of 10 times, GGG or, like, what's their name again? Dead Coalition at the time, they would have decided not to drop. But then for that 1 second, right, the decision was made.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a good fight.
Yeah, it was a very fun fight.
Yeah, but, you know, sadly, I don't remember any fight like that anywhere. Really.
We had kind of similar fight to this probably like 3 years ago when I was Project Mayhem, and we killed 2XX Revenants. Both sides escalated with supers.
But yeah, let's say it. Every 3 years, I can see that happen. Every 3 years, you have like a fight like that. But there's so many things that need to get together, so it's very, very, very unlikely. Right? And I think with the size of groups, like, everything is getting a little bit more, like, what do you call it? Maybe polarized. It's getting harder, right? Getting harder to find that fight.
Especially now, no one really dropping Supers and Titans anymore after patch.
Yeah, so I mean, do you see it as a good thing or a bad thing then? Right? The Super and Titan.
I mean, every group like thinks on another way about it. Like for us, it's good. For someone, it's bad.
Yeah, but I mean, I always argue. Obviously, there's a balance there also for us. Like, if you hunt targets, you want to have targets in space. So if Supers and Titans are too weak and they're not in space, is it really good for you? Right? That's the argument. Like, does it promote fights like that? You know, I don't know. Probably not so much. I don't know. Maybe it does. We'll have to see. I believe it's a good change though. But yeah. So that fight earlier, that was like the perfect size too, right? You guys brawling it out with the fight you guys had with the dog workers. It's like,
oh, just now, yeah.
Yeah. It's like the perfect size. It's not tie-dye. Like, it's like fairly big fleets for low sec, but nothing crazy, right? Like, I don't know how big the fleet actually was.
I mean, I think we had like 37 people in TeamSpeak or something like this. Everyone was like dual boxing and triple boxing.
Yeah,
and I think total and local was like 250, something like that.
I have to say though, you remember back in the day, 250 local, that would already be tie-dye. Remember those days? So the servers have come a long way already, I think. Vetizo trolling the chat.
I will pay you 1 bill if you're gonna mute him or ban.
1 bill for Vetizo ban? I kinda like Vetizo. He's a unique character. He's a unique dude doing his weird stuff. And I think, like, wait a second, isn't Vetizo also trying to FC a little bit? I mean, he's always like a backup FC, but like a supportive FC.
Well, he's not really a scene, but he's helping a lot with Intel and things like this. He's setting up stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing about groups in LoSec, groups like Snuff. You have to focus on content creation, and that's where like guys like Vertizo probably come and play very handy, right? Because they're always out and about, making stuff happen, giving you opportunities, right?
Yeah, you're right.
So that might just be one of the big advantages you guys have. Like actually on my list, my first question was, what was the fight that just happened? And why didn't Hai just take that fight alone? Right? And it might just come across as as an offensive question. That's not what it's supposed to do, but it's more like it kind of highlights the team you need, right? To run a good alliance, a solid alliance like Snuff. There's a team there, so you can't just do it, and just Hai alone can't do it, right? Or do you think he could run it without you?
I mean, of course, he definitely can, but like both of us was online, so. And we kind of like to work as team, you know.
Yeah, so you know what? I actually comboed him. I think you actually know, I told you. I comboed him saying like, hey, take on that timer, please. Like, I need
Yeah,
Tau.
yeah. He did tell me.
Because I've been fucking begging you to come on for like, how long now? I
That's
don't even
not my fault that Citadels are fucking can.
Well, do you want to tell me how you really feel about Citadels? Yeah.
Well, whenever CCP announced that they bring in Citadels, everyone from LowSec was saying that it's a big mistake.
Yeah, but they didn't listen, right?
Well, yeah, but now they're slowly listening to us, right? Like they're adding abandon mod or whatever it's called. So it's good. I hope
Yeah.
they're
I
gonna
mean,
add passive income to LowSec as well.
yeah, so that third state they're gonna introduce, right? There's like normal, like online, then there's low power, and now there's abandoned. But do you think a lot of citadels will actually go into abandoned mode? I don't even know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like,
And
for
then,
example, there is one very popular system called Igniton. You probably for jump freighters. It has probably like 200 citadels,
and you know another
and
thing?
most of them are low power. So I'm 100% sure, like 50% or even more, gonna go into abandon.
Well, that's actually, I mean, that's good news, I guess, right? There's gonna be a lot of fights over stuff, and then also, um, the asset safety is gonna be gone then, right? So maybe, do you think maybe it's a test run? Because that's what I thought. Maybe it's a little bit of a test run.
I mean,
Like, how does
you
asset
never
safety
know.
affect it?
The exact same can happen. What happened to whatever was called when they removed the local.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, they still got the data. You know what I mean? There's still like the lesson is still there to be learned. You know what I mean? They might
Yeah,
just
I guess.
still
Yeah, we
make
never know.
changes
We
with
will
that.
see.
Yeah, but it might just be the same for this, and then they might just have a look at the asset safety part of things, and then it's the first step. That's Can we agree to that? I think that's fair to say. It doesn't feel like it's the final step, right? It's the first step, Citadel
Well, I
West.
hope it's not the final step. Yeah.
Yeah. Like what else do you like? What do you think is like a proper, like a good second step then? So now it's the abandoned mode. What's the next one?
They definitely should fix ECM on Citadel and ECM in general. Because I'm gonna tell you one thing. We are doing a test run, and we've had like 10 remote sensor boosters on a HIG, right? And it was mix of ECM script and Scanria script, right? And our HIG got jumped by a Blackbird from 100 kilometers.
You mean what?
And the thing about ECM on Citadels, is it doesn't matter how much is your straight, right? It's gonna perma jump you, which is kind of stupid as well.
Is it? Is it though? Like, I don't know the numbers, to
Yeah.
be quite honest.
Yeah.
I think in our case it doesn't matter too much, but I can see it in like on a smaller scale, low sec, it definitely does. But is it always like Citadel timers? We had a massive fight today about like about a pos of all things, which like it's just a staging pos, not so even anything coming out of it.
Yeah, I saw.
So ever since it all switched to Citadels, like R64s and so on, there's less fights for that, right? And then today's fight was about like 1
What
was it? Was it not?
You're talking about us and the workers, right? Yeah, it was over 40. The thing about us is we always, as a attacker side, like people are not really trying to make timers to fight us, so which is forcing us always to be on attacker side.
Yeah, and the attacker side always has a massive disadvantage on a fight like that, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Especially after Fox nerf as well.
That's another thing we need to talk about, I guess. Right? The fax thing. I believe the fax nerf, how it was done, it's a good thing. It's not perfect. Maybe they could have done it a little bit more, a little different, right? Smaller scale, smaller groups might need a little more. But I mean, we had a good fight too. When was that? Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday, right?
Pretty sure it was 3 days ago.
Or two days ago or something.
I think, well, 2 days or 3 days ago.
Yeah, but we had a great fight. I mean, we
yes, but the thing is, like I'm fine with Fox nerfs, yeah, but they need to add a combat, like all triage had.
They need to what?
To add a combat refit. So while you're in triage, you can
I got bad
change
news
your
for you.
models and.
I got bad news
Well,
for you.
I know that CCP said that they're not adding it, and still, it would be nice. Is they gonna bring it? Because what happened to us when we fought you is our apostle got dry in less than 1 minute, and he was just a useless ship on grid.
But isn't that alright? That's that would be my argument now. So for those who don't know what fight we're talking about, maybe you wanna like link the battle report. Then you'll see like we had to bring like serious numbers to crack that shit, right? You're a low sec group, you're running around all slaved and shit, bringing faxes and dreads, and we didn't have faxes and dreads, right? So we had to
but you had like 150 people plus.
I know, but then also Bliss forms. And like in Bliss fashion, he just wings it. Just starts with a conflict. We never run really. Suddenly he's like forming sacrileges and Drakavex, and everyone's like, okay, let's see if they're seeded, right? And then we just go out on those, and like he's just winging it for the good fight or whatever, right? And then like it's a tough fight. Now imagine like if you would say we can't cap that fax out within a minute, right? A minute is quite a long time too. Like we have to cap it out, then we have to shoot through it. You can still inject, so you can still rep to a degree, all that stuff, right? So if we couldn't cap that thing out with 140 dudes within a minute, like wouldn't that mean it's OP? Like isn't it supposed to die? I would argue.
I mean, no. Look, I'm agree that it's how it's supposed to work, right? Yes, but Fax need to be able to keep himself at cap level and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? I mean, did you listen to my interview with Rice?
No.
So when I brought it up, so I brought that up. I actually told him like, what are the chances that we get combat refitting back? And he said 0, right? 0. So I don't want to crush all your hopes, but it's not coming. And his argument was that it's a completely different game. Then like there's a certain game mechanic which is fitting, and then a combat refitting with like faxes would completely screw with that or whatever, screw with that.
Well, the thing about new foxes is we did a test run, and Tech 2 Apostle with Tech 1 reps are not able to tank Asbel, Tech 1 Asbel. It will die to just a lone Asbel. So, which forces you to pimp your fox. So basically, our fox is like, you probably saw it. Our fox is like 4 bill on that keyboard, right? And it forces us to use them to somehow survive on the Citadel grid. And we still like feeding them hard. And there
So,
is no way that, yeah, you're gonna make them cheap and tank 40.
but so wouldn't then the argument be that citadels are too strong when it comes to that, rather than faxes too weak?
Well, not really. I mean, Citadels are strong still, yes. Especially with bomb damage and things like this. But still, they need to do something with foxes because what they did to foxes now is kind of impossible. Let's say like this to fight on Citadel. I mean, it is possible, yes, but you're gonna keep feeding foxes.
Yeah, but so let's say citadels wouldn't have an easy time killing the faxes. Let's just assume they can't mute the faxes, for example, right? Which is a big factor, obviously. It's like, I don't know, maybe the DPS goes a little bit down, right? So let's just assume half the DPS you can rep with a fax gets killed by a citadel. So if you fear the fax, you only have half the rep power because you're getting hit by the citadel, right? So if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be a good balance to hit? That would be kinda where you wanted it to be, right? So a fax can comfortably tank it, not comfortably, but if you get in a serious fight, then those faxes fall a little bit quicker because they have the defensive advantage of the citadel. But isn't
Yeah.
then wouldn't that
Yeah.
mean it's mostly the newts of the citadel or the citadel that are actually the problem, not the fax itself?
Well, there is like both of these things a problem. We did a test run as well on a test server, and then Apostle got dry from a Fortizer in 2.5 minutes. So there is no way he gonna come out of siege. Yeah. So he'll basically.
Yeah. So if we would say, okay, like if CCP would come out and say, okay, we're gonna change this, we're gonna remove the newts from citadels, and then maybe the DPS goes a little lower. Wouldn't you also like? At least I feel like faxes are now in a good place against subcaps, because that was the most frustrating part about faxes. I felt like
I
that
mean,
subcap
it
fleets, no
always
matter
was
the
good
size.
against subcaps. It always was good against subcaps. You just have to bring more newts. That's it.
But more newts, you say that as if you can like easily bring that, and you have to brawl the faxes too, right? That's the thing. Like it would all be like completely brawl, which is not necessarily fair. If you can, for example, in that fight, I don't wanna I think it was a good fight, and there's always room to spin it. You guys can spin it because you say like, oh, look at all these numbers, and we can spin it and say like, look, you had to field caps, right? Because like that's the thing. Like if we have to brawl your faxes and we don't have the capability of fielding caps, which we didn't have
Wow.
anything in range.
I mean,
You
for
can
you
field
guys,
horse.
it was one meet, right?
I'm not sure actually. It
I
might
think
have
it's
been
one
one
meet.
mid for some caps, but we can't just escalate to no end,
Well,
right?
it is one meet
Come
for you
on.
guys.
If we can field like 10, 15 jets, you can field like
I mean,
more than, right?
since you had 150 subs, I guess you're gonna pull more than 15 reds.
Well, we could form like 100 dreads in IGE, which is our staging, but that
Yes,
mids or
but
that
well,
system that was in range, or like with the one mid, like, and nothing was prepped either, right? I mean, you guys noticed we came in
yeah,
like the
but
time
still,
was half done.
those unsiblics are a bit overpowered, They can take you, I don't know where you stay, IGE? Where is it? Is it in front? I
That's in
assume
the
so.
middle of phone, yeah.
Yeah. How many jump bridges is it towards F7?
2, and a
Okay,
couple
here
jumps
you
in
go.
between.
Here you go. So
But
it's gonna
then
take
there's
you
one
what?
dicta. Boom, no jump bridges. I tell you what, there's a couple guys. Maybe one of them is, a few of them are on here, maybe. But there's like 7th Sanctum in Clowring, and they camp all day, every day. So we can't really move just naked dreads, like dreads without any support. Can't really move that through there. Like they're gonna catch one, if not 2. They killed a Rorqual earlier while we were in that massive fight. So I don't think that's an option really. Right? But it's beside the point anyway. Like I was trying to just make the point that subcap wise, the balance is just in a way better place now. I feel like because before that, if you can't break the facts, you can't go home. And a lot of times the fight would not even happen because you can't break the facts. So why would you even engage in the first place, right? Like a group like you guys, if you show up with like a couple of Macarials, I know there's gonna be effects in there too. And if I can't bring the facts with the fleet I have, why would I fucking engage? I can't break you anyway, right? And I think a lot of people,
We're not always bringing the fox. We
well,
usually bring in foxes when we're fighting outnumbered.
yeah, I guess you don't always do it, but I'm very aware that it's always an option for you. So, it's like it's just let's just assume I engage, and then you feel like you have to bring effects, otherwise you don't know. The second the fax hits the field, if I don't have a fleet that can deal with the fax, there's no reason for me to stay, right? Unless you are in stuff I can shoot through, maybe, right? If I have like overwhelming DPS. And
I mean,
the fax won't
it all depends
be able to look at them.
on what ships we are and on what ships we are, right?
Yeah, obviously, always. But I'm just like, let's say you're in like 100 in a 100-man fleet. Let's say it's like 70 mutants, 20 logis. Right? That's a solid comp. It's getting quite tricky to alpha through like a mag fleet. With 70 mutants, you might just be able to do it actually. But if you are any lower number wise, you're gonna have a hard time cracking like low sec max. And then there's a fax on field. You cannot crack that fax. There are old fax. Right now, you probably can. But in general, it's a little bit of a stretch, right? And then this fight would never happen because the fax would be on field. So my argument was always faxes, even sometimes even they're not even fielded, would deny content.
Well, for you, maybe it's easy to say because you guys are getting great numbers, but for us, we always fighting outnumbered, which is forcing us to use foxes to tank somehow greed.
Yeah, and I get that, but if everyone suddenly can fight outnumbered if they have a fax and the others don't, like, isn't that weird too? Then you know what I mean?
I mean, stop being bad, get more odds then.
But yeah, I mean, to a degree, I get it. The force multiplier thing, it totally makes sense. But there's a balance that has to be hit, and it's not always easy to hit that one. And I feel like now it's way better than it was before, at least from a subcap perspective. I do give you the point of the fault though 100%. Right? That's a little, it doesn't provide or it doesn't, what do you call it? It's not generating fights that way, Now there might be fights you cannot take because of it, and that's not a good thing. But yeah. But as it always is though, if you have caps and we don't, like there's like a big advantage. Like Hordeads even track like what were we flying? Sacrileges, right? AB sacrileges, and you still track them. So there's always a big advantage there if one side can field caps and the other can't, and that will never change, which is all right.
I mean, as I said before, just get more eyes, easy. Problem solved. People
Well, we knew.
people are complaining about us that like we are blobbing with cups and stuff, right? But the thing is, like, we are pushing hard our guys to get dreads and foxes, right? And that's the only reason why we're getting those numbers. Not because like we are mass recruiting and things like this. Like only because almost every member have a fox alt and a dread alt.
Yeah, and I think that's probably coming from consistency and activity, right? Like, because that's what you do. If you field a lot of dreads and you guys have a lot of fun, those dread numbers will only go up, right? Now, over time, like, how long have you guys been doing this? Like, I don't even know how old is Snuff. A couple years. We've been working together for like at least 3 years, right?
I don't even remember.
But yeah.
I'm pretty sure we were working 2 years even before we joined Imperium.
Yeah, we were. I think that's probably one of the reasons why you joined Imperium. That's why you felt like at the time you can do it and then be your own kind of entity, because, like, you know, that's what we're doing basically. Like, you don't have to join the Imperium and then be just one more alliance that feeds numbers into goon fleets. You know what I mean? I don't want to shit on any Imperium or something, but you know, that's what's happening most. And then, so Natib says, but hard dreads don't track AB sags without subcap support. Problem starts with when the subcap support cannot be broken because of the caps on field, aka faxes. You know, that's my argument. So if you have a Windy on field that cannot be broken because the fax just wraps it too well, then what? If you can't kill the fax?
I mean, just pull some range, stay outside of FAP range, easy, problem solved.
But then you can't mute the fax, and then you can't crack anything, and then why engage, right?
I mean, like eventually he'll run out of Strong or Cup boosters. Right?
I mean, Joe with the long play.
It depends how long you want to stay on field, right? And what's your plan?
And then little high warps in with a howler and gives you new cap boosters. Problem solved. But yeah. What about Willy? Willy trying to call anyone for blobbing? Guys, stop it. The man has suffered enough with the Tapi thing becoming a meme. Oh, there he is actually. Alright. So we already talked about that. Like, you actually see yourself as a medium-sized alliance, which is funny to me, right?
Why is it funny for you?
I don't know, because like you're probably the biggest low sec group, right?
No.
And like a lot of big fights. Let's see it like that. So when I say scale of operation, it's probably the kind of fights you guys find yourselves in, and a lot of times you find yourselves in large scale fights. I would say, like, a lot of times Snuff shows up too.
So, yes, but like saying that we are like big scale alliance because we are shown to every fight is not correct, right? And like as I said before, like we're not that big anymore. We're getting like 35 guys max or so.
Did the stuff actually suffer? Like, I haven't we haven't done much together lately. And I think that one fight, that was the first time I actually saw you guys as good old Snuff again. Did your numbers actually suffer a lot with the, you know, disbanding, then joining Trigger, then going back and like reviving Snuff?
I mean, not really. Like most of people who was before, they rejoined, but we kind of don't want to grow bigger, you know. We enjoying with our size right now. Like we're getting a lot of fights almost every day, and we are happy.
That is actually a good sign. Like, if it's a healthy group, or like a healthy, how to say it, like social wise, like a healthy culture too. That if a group disbands and then maybe half a year later they just, you know, revive the group and everyone just shows up again, that's a good sign. Like, you know, you've done something right.
Yeah, it's good.
But what do you think? Like, so what do you think you guys do way better than the rest? Or like way better? What do you guys think? or do you think you guys do better in terms of low sec alliances? Because I mean, you're officially, like, congratulations, by the way, you and High, right, and the rest of Snuff, you're officially the champions of low sec, right? So what do you guys think?
You need to
You
say
guys are doing
thanks to
better.
Ionis for it, by the way. He killed his own Titan Knight in Hysera.
Whose time was it? Was it High's? No.
No, it was Ionis' Titan.
What? But that's not what got you the win at the end, was it? Or was it actually? I don't know.
Yes.
God damn it! So you cannot cheat it. Dirty cheaters. But at the same time, I didn't see anyone complain anyway.
Didn't you say Reddit about it?
I don't read all Reddit shit. Like sometimes I make the mistakes and read Reddit, honestly. And sometimes I make a bigger mistake and get into an argument, and then I regret it instantly. But in general, I don't know. But yeah, I saw the Titan kill, and I thought it was a Snuff Titan, but I don't know. I wasn't sure 100%.
It was Ionis.
But the thing is, Reddit probably complained. They complain whatever it's gonna be. But in general, everyone agreed anyway that you guys are like the low sec guys, right? The number one low sec alliance. So
those 5 days was probably the worst days in my. We've been autistically camping Tama from like 9 a.m. till 18 p.m. Sorry, from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m.
Wait a second.
Spending all day on Tama Gate.
Are you guys? Wait a second. Say that again. You guys were camped in? No.
No, we were camping at Tama Gate.
Camping. Yeah. To like in an effort to actually get the most kills.
Yeah.
And then you still had to kill the Titan. I think PL moved a shit ton of caps into Amamaki.
Blame Ionis on this. For killing his own Titan.
Did so? Who came second actually? Was it PL? No.
No, second was, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Wangs, and the third was Tapi.
But didn't PL move a lot of dreads into Amamaki? Or
yes,
a lot of
but
caps?
they shit at camping and killing stuff in lows. You know, you can't achieve a lot while flying on Jackdaws and Caracal.
I thought maybe I mean, PL had a game plan, I thought. And then when I saw the Titan kill, I didn't pay attention to who got second or third. I thought you guys might have just killed the Titan because PL was so close. But yeah. Yeah, Test was doing some low sec stuff too. But did it create a lot of content, would you say? Like, is it a good, like, kind of event? Was it a... Like, what was going on in low sec actually? I didn't pay any attention.
It created a lot of small scale content, right? Like, there was a lot of activity actually. But like for big fights, it did nothing. Well, it did in US time zone, because what Test did is they were feeding Wangs every day in US time zone. So I was kind of sad that no one from EU time zone group deployed to us.
But so when you say it created a lot of small scale content, but isn't that how it works? Isn't that how it always works? From small scale, it grows to mid scale, it grows to large scale, to whatever scale.
Well, it won't grow to large scale from frigate fight. Whenever two rifters fighting.
Well, not from one fight, but concert activity. I would argue it probably does over time, because then more people would go into low sec, and then if there's a lot of frigate fights, means there's a lot of frigate stuff. Then people bring cruisers to kill frigates.
Content. For me, it's not really content, like killing freaks and cruisers, no.
No. But my argument is, like, that's how it starts, though, right? So let's say this event would go on for, like, let's say 2 months or 3. Then the stuff could, like, grow to a bigger level, so you would find the kind of content you like and enjoy, right? Because then maybe Init deploys a couple guys into whatever F7C, and then we roam into there with like bigger fleets, and then you can bring out your slaved Macarials and engage, and suddenly there's a fight. You know what I mean? And then you drop us with dreads, and then Shines gets all mad, moves, hopefully not Supers and Titans, but maybe a couple dreads of his own.
I remember you guys moved Supers and Titans fast, and we had 30 guys as well. It was very rude.
We would never do that. We're always just coming for the good fight.
Yeah, I believe you.
Hey, you guys have a shit ton of Supers and Titans yourself, right?
Do we?
Well, we can't go in sloppy, that's for sure. We can't just like wing it and bring a couple Supers and Titans. That's not gonna do.
I mean,
especially in low-sec.
Well, we both talking about your fourth timer, right? Because that's when you needed Supers and Titans for.
I don't remember that one. Which fourth timer was that?
I don't even remember what system it was, but basically you found like minions for us, and you had like 100 minions or something like this, and we had only like 14 fleet, right? And you still needed Supers and Titans.
Well, because we expect you guys to field caps, right? That's the cycle. Like 100 minions, they only do so much against caps. Right? If it's only caps, easy peasy. But then on top of that, like a 40-man subcap fleet, 100 minions should probably deal with it, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, that shows the respect. We've got so much respect for you guys. Maybe too much sometimes. That's the scare factor we talked about earlier. We have the same one. We're scared of you guys. All right, but so when you guys FC, right? And then we talked about that earlier. You and Hai are like a team, and then the team is a little bit bigger with like Vetizo and some other people. Like I don't know who else is involved there, to be honest, at the moment. But like, what do you think? Like, is your part usually in a fight like that today, for example? Like Hai and you probably share like the same type, or like is it usually Hai who's doing subs and you do caps, or was it the other way around? I forgot actually.
Today Hai was doing subs and I was doing caps.
But like, what would you like? Technically, what would you say is usually your like style, if there's any style like that?
I mean, we both doing both jobs, right? So
yeah, I know.
You can't really say like Hai doing this and Tao doing this, for example, right?
Yeah, I know you guys both do like the same thing, but like Shines and I, for example, we like tend to split it up. Like I'm more the sub guy and he's more the cap guy. So whenever that question would come up, it would be clear that he would be doing the cap thing. And I think it's probably similar in your case, right?
Well, I mean, we're both comfortable with seeing subs and caps.
But what would you say, like, if you would have to describe your FC style, what would you say? Like, I don't know. Like, is it more like, are you the well-prepared type? Do you like to wing it, or do you like to? I think you like to wing it.
I guess you can like
I know,
answer
actually.
this question by yourself. I just need to remind you about our Titan fight.
Yeah, not only that one. Like,
yeah.
We've worked so many times, and so many times we had like cohort issues. I'm not sure if you want to talk about it, but like the Titan fight is one example, and then you have you remember that one fight we had? You called me, like you come with me and said like, hey, we need help on this timer. Like, can you guys show up? And I'm like, all I can do in this short time, obviously, when Tao comes with me, I have like 5 minutes to form and 5 minutes to travel, and I have to be there. So I'm like, all I can do is bomb this to get that time. And you're like, yeah. And it's going to be on this and this grid. You remember that one? It's going to be on, like, I forgot what it was. Was it a POS? No. It was... I forgot.
Um,
So, but you told me this thing is the objective, and I don't think it was a pause, but let's just say it was a pause. And I make all the bookmarks while I form, and then we travel there, and we get there in time. I'm all set up. I'm like, okay, we are ready to go. And then you warp over to the fucking Cyno beacon and
oh
start the
yeah, I
fight. I'm
remember.
like,
It was
dude.
in Decline against Jute. Yeah, I remember it.
I was so mad. Like I was all set up, ready to go for the perfect bomb run, and then you just decide to take the fight somewhere else.
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
remember it.
but yeah, that's the typical. Like we had that a few times, and like I don't like. I think we both suck at it. That's pretty much what it is, right?
Yeah, I'm bad
Yeah.
at communication. Sorry.
Yeah, like the same here, right? I'm like, it's like, you know, I don't talk enough to the other fleets, I guess. And I mean, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. But most of the time, I'd probably rather have someone else on comms with another fleet and then just tell me what's going on. But you don't always have the luxury, right? And yeah, like we kind of talked like in different directions, and then suddenly the fight kicks off, and they actually warp in perfectly for me to bomb, but we're not set up. So yeah, that was that. And I think we did try to bomb them, but it didn't land proper because the spots were shit and stuff.
Yeah, I remember it.
Yeah. And then the Titan fight, right? You told me like, hey, just form caps, get here, get here. And like, dude, I can't move them that quick. Right? By the time we reach, it's gonna be over. You're better off just lining out, and I'm gonna bomb it. But you didn't read it, or you didn't understand what I meant, right? And then could have saved the Titan or two, maybe. I don't know.
I actually saved, I think, 2 Titans of
Yeah, we
ours.
saved a couple, but
Yeah.
I felt like we could have probably saved most of them if there was a game plan. We didn't have a game plan coming in. That's the thing, right? So that's why the two of us have a little bit more. Like it's more common that the two of us have problems with it because I kind of like the perfectly planned ops. You know what I mean? Like prep it all, talk about like what are we gonna do, what if, and all that stuff, and then
No,
you know.
I like to go aggressive on
I
everything.
know. And then you tell me like suddenly
And
there's
usually it
Titans
works,
coming in.
so.
I know. Yep. You know what? If I would do it, it probably wouldn't work. That's the thing. Like, so I'm gonna stick to what works for me, I guess. But that might be the reason, because I'm so like I'm more like the methodical type, maybe, and you are more the Wild West fucking revolver type, just pow motherfuckers and go in. So maybe that's why like we have always the trouble of understanding each other on the go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When it's go time, like when I say one thing and you say another thing, and we like it's hard for us to find that
I
middle
mean,
ground. What
but
we
at the
actually
end
doing?
of the day, we always getting like good fights, so.
Yeah. Like I'm not complaining. So far, I mean, it always worked out to a degree. Like it's not like we had like complete disasters, but like the court stuff that has always been one of my I don't want to say issues or whatever.
I'm not good with it as well.
Yeah. But hey, you know what? At least we know we're not good at it.
Yeah,
So,
true.
I mean, that's maybe a quality. In my opinion, that's the number one quality for a good FC, probably. To be self-critical. And at the end of the day, like no matter what you lost, you can sit down, think about it, and then admit you fucked up, and also see like where you lack the skills or the ability. Or what do you think? What's a good quality for an FC that's underrated, maybe?
I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to answer to this because I don't know. I guess it all depends from the person as well.
Yeah, but
Everyone using his own style to.
yeah, but I mean, let's say High. Like, what makes High such a great FC?
Kai
What do you think?
always likes to plan things.
So that's you know, the chords and stuff that for us is always a little bit of a struggle because I like to plan things and you like to wing it. That might just be a good suit for you guys. Maybe you just click and then you guys have an easy time working together because he plans and you execute a little bit more, you know? Is that fair to say? I don't know.
I don't know how to explain to you, but like I don't know, we always like kind of understanding each other from just one word.
That's so cute.
I know, right?
You're the cutest couple in LoSec, that's for sure. But what would you say maybe is like a quality, like a good quality of yours without, you know, obviously that's weird to ask someone because now it's going to come across a little bit like self, what do you call that? I don't know. Right? As if you, like, it comes across a little bit like bragging, but what do you think? Like, is it the execution part? Or is there maybe another quality that you think maybe you've got down? You know? Like a little, like a skill FC wise?
Sorry, can you repeat it once again, please?
Like in general, like, so High is the guy that plans and you'd like to wing it, but is there maybe another like quality, like an FC skill that you think is important? Maybe that you have done, maybe what High has on top of it.
I mean,
'Cause
of
I'm
course,
always-
there is a lot like more factors as well. Like you can't just plan things and go in, right? Like everything depends from situation as well, which what's happening on the grid, like who else is coming against you to help you and things like this, you know.
Oh, yeah, maybe the whole like scout, spy, all that intel gathering.
Yeah.
I think that plays a big role actually, not only in LoSec but especially in LoSec, because it all like it's fast paced. Everything is a little bit more condensed, right? So to know exactly who is where at what time, with how much, that's probably That's
yeah,
actually
Intel always gives you a big advantage over everything.
And like, do you guys have that across like a lot of people, or is that like usually the typical 3-4 guys that have all the scouts and everything? Or is that you and High alone? Or is it just you? Who got all the
No,
spies?
we have like 10 people helping us with that. So we are not alone at it.
And when was the last time you guys like fucked up because you didn't have eyes? Do you remember one of those? Or maybe
It was probably, when was it? I think it was 2 weeks ago, maybe. Whenever we hit in Unicastach against NC and Volta, basically we missed a Beacon Sea fleet, 10 jumps from us, and that's why we've had a lot. We were like almost ready to jump our carriers to save our foxes, but then Taidai came in and we decided not to because we found out that there is like 200 NC fleet to 10 jumps. It almost cost like 100 bill of losses to us.
Yeah. You know what? I think the biggest loss I ever had is exactly that. The lack of intel. The biggest, I whipped a couple Titans and 2 faction supers once. Against who was that?
It was
Siege
against
Green and a couple other
I
guys.
remember.
Was a little off time zone and stuff like this, and I didn't put eyes. It was my op. That's the thing. And that's the kind of thing that pushes me more towards like it has to be planned properly and you have to have eyes and all that stuff. Because it wasn't my op. I didn't prep anything. And then I had to wing it and I called in everything and it was a trap. So I think Brisk's Titan died. I think 2 more Titans and 2 faction supers died that day. And it all came down to Intel, right?
Yeah, I remember it.
You weren't on grid, yeah, right? You weren't?
No, I wasn't, but we were meeting Foxes to say.
Exactly. That's true, actually. Yeah, you guys were on the way. I forgot, actually. That's true. So yeah, I kept piling. Like that's a good thing if you have friends like that are willing to just burn, get those faxes in range. Now that you say it, actually, yeah. I could just pile in more and more and more and just focus on keeping the kill speed up to get rid of all those dreads. And we got a hold of the situation, but yeah, the damage was done. But it was good to know that I've got friends on the way. You know what I mean? So like, that's a very ensuring kind of thing. So I don't get like re-dredge bombed. That might have happened before. Did you ever dread bomb something? And then the situation was clear, and then you re-dread bombed? Must have happened, right?
I don't know, maybe.
I just wondered, just randomly. Would be kind of fun.
Don't even remember.
And you know what? One of the best times we had together, like in it and stuff, was when we were fighting NC and they were staged. I think they were staged in Vey or whatever, in Losec, and then I always would come into Syndicate, and we couldn't contest their caps. And I remember that's the thing. Is back to the core thing again. You guys formed Reds and you're ready to go, and I was out in subcaps, and like you were supposed to drop on.
Oh, was it when NC lost an Erebus on the pause?
Yeah, with like everything on grid. Right, with everything on grid. That was the crazy part about it, right? So they jumped the gate.
They almost lost another Erebus as well, but he won because we didn't have like enough kicks on.
Yeah, but the timing thing didn't work out, right? Because you guys were like, I don't know how many dreads you had. You had a shit ton of dreads ready. Then NC took the gate and warped over to a POS, I believe, or a Citadel. I think it was a POS at the time.
Well, yeah, it was a POS, but they were jumping to assign like 300 of POS or something like this, and then they were warping down to. And then there was one this bus who jumped in late, and yeah.
Yeah, and we were still formed in subs, because if I would have docked up and then reshipped into dreads, we wouldn't have been ready in time, right? So we were out in subs, just waiting for the goal. But you guys already jump in, and then you say like it was a fairly late, and then you say like go go go, and I'm like okay. So we donk and jump in, and the second we jump in, the Titan is already dead. So now we jump in late, like you're half cycle, and we are mid cycle, and you jump out after first cycle, and now we jumped in for nothing. We're like in the middle of our siege cycle, and you guys are already bailing out, and then NC is coming in. I was like, God damn it, like that time was so shit.
Yeah, we killed like 40 foxes as far as I remember, or something like this.
Yeah. There must be a video out there actually, if someone wants to look for it. Forgot what it was. It in Vestuve? Maybe? No. What's the system next to Vestuve, I believe? That must have been the one. But yeah. Yeah, Vestuve was it, right? Yeah.
I don't remember. It was like what, 4 years ago, probably 3 years ago.
Yeah, that was good times, right?
Yeah.
The high says yes. You had 3 hicks? Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but when you say it's Vestuve, maybe someone can find the video. And so we talked about the new faxes. We talked about the cap booster limitation and all that stuff. I think you guys are not fond of it, but hey, right? But are there any changes like lately? So in general, we should probably talk about how it's gone in general, but like I'm not paying too much attention to Losec. Like I'm not in Losec all that much, but are there any changes that affected Losec in any way that I might have missed? Like for example, Did everyone already switch to like Nirvana sets? Because that has always been the thing in LoSec, like well proper organized groups like Snuff and like other.
I don't think anyone in LoSec using Nirvana set.
Is it not yet, or is there a reason why not?
I mean, like most of fights are happening on Citadels, right? And the only thing you can put Nirvana is either Scorp Navy or
It's like
Rattlesnake,
yeah.
which both are better on Citadels because of bomb.
Yeah, I get it, yeah. So it's like because armor configs are preferred in bigger fights, that's why you don't see them.
Yeah.
And I always thought maybe the slave part of things, because they're slaves, that's why armor configs would be a little bit preferred in LoSec. And then now it would be kind of more balanced. But you don't think so?
I don't know. What's up?
No, also, like Willy says, 5 bill for the set versus slaves, 2.5 bill. That's obviously also different.
Well, yeah, because they came out, like half year ago, right?
Yeah.
And you can get them only in Stein, I think. I don't know. From where you getting those Nirvana?
Yeah. There's actually a couple, like, actually the best missioning hub. We had some mission runners from Alliance actually going over to G-Me2, which is actually probably the best mission running hub for the Nevada sets. And I think there's a couple guys from Test over there, and then there might be like some Stain locals that run them. But I don't think that's enough to supply the entire game with Nirvanas yet.
I mean, as far as I know, like Test and Goons are both running a campaign in Stein to get those Nirvanas. At least Test doing it. I don't know about Goons.
Oh, Vetizo says Goons are running them pretty hard.
Well,
I
here you
had
go.
no idea. Oh, I had no idea. Yeah, we were thinking about it because like Init has a long tradition of like mission running, I guess, right? As like the main income source for the entire alliance. So we thought like let's have a look, right? We took a couple of guys over there and had some old school mission running going on. But it kind of died down after a while. But yeah, maybe over time there's going to be more people. So Titan Super EHP, that doesn't affect you all that much, but you're looking forward to that.
Like, yeah, we're not using Super Titans at all.
But in general, what do you think? The general direction CCP is going with the changes, even though you don't like the fax one. What do you think?
I mean, in general, it's good. Yeah, I like for now. I like what's happening to the game, and I'm enjoying.
So, like, is it fair to say like you also like talk to other FCs, but in general, most FCs I talk to, they're all pretty optimistic, right? Or would you?
Alright.
You wouldn't say?
Well, I mean, not everyone really enjoying like what's happening to the game. I mean, but there is always gonna be people who gonna complain, right? So.
Yes, and especially with patches that have so many changes. Right? The last patch where they introduced like Super Titan EHP, then the fax capital cap booster thing, then resist nerfs all across the board and all that stuff. So it's like it's such a huge package. There's always going to be one change someone's not going to like, right? But then that doesn't mean you don't like the entire patch, for example.
Yeah.
So what
exactly?
Like in that case, like what about that entire package together? What would you think about it? Like what kind of rating would you give it?
I guess like 8 out of 10.
An 8 out of 10. So that's the thing. When I talked to Rise, even leading up to the interview, he was a little bit like, oof, the feedback isn't the greatest, especially when it comes to certain things. And I was like, it will always be like that. If you have a big package of like sets of changes, you will always just hear about the stuff people don't like. You know what I
Well,
mean?
the thing is, most of people lives in 0.0, right? And this patch, like kind of touch 0.0 people a lot because they're not really allowed to crop on supers anymore, right? Especially goons. Like there is a lot of goons going FK or joining another alliances because they're not allowed to crop on supers anymore.
Well, they're not allowed for a week or so. I think
Well,
they back
no,
out.
they banned permanently.
What?
Yeah, didn't you know that goons banned permanently? The the writing on.
I had no idea. I thought it's just a temporary thing. Like that's what they always did. What did they say? Like just like nobody is allowed to red and supers and titans anymore. In general.
Well, here you go.
Is Tau Russian? Yes. It started as a week off, and now it's a I had no idea. We actually did the same thing and stopped for a week. Usually we don't do that, but in this case, it felt right because also all the fax fittings had to be reworked. Now, if you get tackled with a super or titan right now, and the change just came in, all the faxes are fitted incorrectly. You can't, like, you know what I mean? So that's why we stopped and said, okay, let's give it a week and then adjust some stuff and then go out and do it again. I had no idea. But to go back to what we were talking about before that, like with a big set of changes like that, it will always come across as if people hate on it, on stuff like this. Like in your case, for example.
How good or bad the changes are, people are always gonna complain. Like there is nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, so the like someone who just listens to the discussion we had at the beginning with the faxes and all that stuff, he will always think you just don't like the entire thing. So for example, that's how I think Rise picked it up too. When he listens to you talk about that, he doesn't know you like the rest. You know what I mean? You're not putting but at the end of the sentence and say the rest is great. You know, you're trying to get the patch even better. You say you gave it an 8 out of 10. You want to get it to a 9.9, right? So it's not a negative thing in general, is it?
I mean, it's not. Yeah, right.
And when I talked about like other FCs, like who else is there who like doesn't like it? Did you like have a lot of people that didn't like the recent changes or the direction the game is going? Because I haven't heard a lot.
As I said before, like, right, there is always gonna be people who likes and who doesn't, and I would say like 50% liked it, and 50 doesn't.
But then those 50%, did you ask them? Is it just about the faxes or is it like all around?
I mean, for example, the only thing I don't like about patch is the.
All right. Maybe I need to get more low sec FCs on. Do you have any names? Like, if I would ask you, who would be a good guest for another episode for like low sec stuff? I think I actually have a list of people, but maybe you can add to that.
You should probably talk to Baltrom, I guess.
Baltrom is on the list.
Oh, here you go then.
Are you guys good friends? Yeah.
Well, depends what you call him friend, right? You can call to Nate as well. FC of Penis out.
All right. So if I tell you, I'm gonna tell you 3 names on my list. Predator Elite from Did He Say Jump? He's a low sec guy, right? Then
Yeah.
Baltrom. He's more of a like, but what he does is smaller scale, even I would say, but he does a lot of scene.
Yes, but he still lives in Lowsec, and his alliance is Lowsec. So.
And for those who are like watching or listening in, you should totally check him out. Baltrum TV, right? He streams all the time. He's a good dude. He's a funny guy. And then you have Erestrian from Siege Green is on my list.
Erestrian is a good dude as well. We've been fighting him for a long time.
Yeah, that's another thing, right? Yeah, like everyone knows each other to a degree, especially in Lowsec because it's all a little bit closer. And you know what? There's another question I had like right at the top when we talked about Snuff. Why even Lowsec? Like, what do you think is like? Why do you guys prefer Lowsec over Nullsec?
Well, first of all, I mean, I don't know. In Lowsec, you can find like a fight in less than a minute, right? Whenever you click on dock, you can find it. While in Nullsec, you need to go 20 plus jumps to get out of a blue space to go in neutral space.
Yeah, I guess like at the moment that's definitely correct. There used to be times though where you could just unlock and get a fight no matter what.
I mean, it always was kind of like this.
Yeah, I mean, I guess depends on the region. I think maybe if I'm talking from my experience, I used to live in Curse a lot, and Curse was kind of hot all the time, right? Like back in the day, let's say 2012 to let's say 14 or so. Curse was probably one of the busier regions for like small scale content. So I guess maybe that's it always depended, right? Yeah, you're probably right. And so could you ever see yourself or maybe Snuff even to move into nullsec? I mean, you always had like a pocket. You remember you always had that pocket in.
Yeah, that was our crap pocket.
Do you remember those guys? I'm not sure if I told you that story. I actually wait. Was it you? No. Who did I talk to? Who was the rental guy?
Spunky. He's not playing anymore.
That was too funny. So you guys had that one pocket in Fountain, and we were kinda keeping an eye on it for you, right? Like if something serious would happen, we knew, right? You guys are not gonna come there and form or whatever. So we knew, like, if something happens with that pocket, it's probably gonna be us going and helping out. And then this guy in NPC Fountain hit. No, actually, we refed a hostile Fortizar of those NPC Fountain guys, right? And then they had a deal with you guys and tried to stop us from killing their Fortizar by saying, hey, if you kill our Fortizar, we're gonna harass Snuff in their rental pocket and cancel the deal.
That's another thing about nullsec. It always forces you into agreements.
Yeah.
Which I don't really like.
I don't like it either. No. But it was a funny thing anyway. I mean, some people like it though. I'm not gonna say it's all shit. Like some of these political movements and all that stuff are kind of fun, right? I mean, in this example, for example, I just played it off as if like, yeah, fuck yeah, please hit Snuff. I hate Snuff and all that stuff, right? So I bluffed him and it worked out. So he didn't do anything, but it was kind of funny, right? But that's some people's gameplay or play style, the political side of things. But it's going a little bit far lately.
Well, in the end of the day, this game is about killing ships, for me at least, and I'm never ever gonna go into 0-0.
And that we talk about the agreements, that's actually one thing that you guys changed when you now revived Snuff. So you restarted Snuff, and then you said you're not gonna go for any agreements of any kind, because we had an agreement for a long time, right? For years we had a gentleman's agreement. Nobody wrote anything down, but we simply said we do not hunt each other's raw cards or supers. Right? That's the only agreement we always had. And then you kind of bent the rules at one time. You remember that one? I wasn't a fan of that one. You remember? You don't?
No. Okay.
You guys. So we engaged. Let me tell the story. Like I have to recall it actually. So there was some dudes in what's the first entry in Syndicate, that high-sec entry from Orwell? I forgot.
Uli? Oh, PF dash.
Yeah. So in PF dash there was some guys just doing weird stuff.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I mean,
so let me tell.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to tell the story from your point of view?
No. Go ahead.
No. So I'm going to tell the story, and then you tell the story from your point of view, right?
Okay.
All right. So there was some dudes fucking around there. I don't know. I forgot what exactly it was, fleet comp or whatever. But they tackled one of our supers because they were like doing sneaky stuff, camping the gate, whatever. Then you guys showed up with just subcaps, I believe, at first. And we dropped faxes to save our super. We had the agreement at the time already, like we're not hunting each other's supers or titans or rockets. So we felt like, yeah, well, like you're not gonna kill our super. But then you guys jumped in, I think you jumped in dreads and just killed all the faxes. You know what I mean? Hey, come on. You have to agree, that's fishy. You know what I mean? Like those agreements, there's always a little loophole, right? Suddenly, like we have a super on good that's tackled, and you just kill all the faxes. You're not killing the super, because we have the agreement, but all the faxes are dead. Like, so these other guys could technically, I'm not sure if they killed it. I don't think they did. But it was some fishy stuff. All right, that's what I felt. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's a piece of puzzle that I'm missing. So, what was happening from your point of view there?
All right, so there was a Citadel timer. As far as I remember, it was the Astra timer on grid, right? And you have one corp which lives in Montinalt, I believe, system called, and they reinforced the Citadel, right? And then Civ Squad showed up to defend this Citadel from your guys, and your guys dropped carriers and dreads, I believe, right? And we were ready on a Titan to just kill carriers of you, right? And then suddenly you guys dropped a Nyx, right? We jumped on top of it. I was spamming Convo to this Nyx guy to like tell him to leave the grid, but he was just rejecting Convo, and then I PM Chines about it.
You did kill our faxes though, didn't you?
Yeah, we did kill all your dreads and foxes, and we killed your subs as well.
I honestly don't remember exactly what happened, but yeah. I remember like also Shines. Yeah, Shines is even in comms in chat. Shines was like disappointed, right? Like obviously, like Shines always had a little bit better, like or more contact to you guys than I did, right? Because like the stuff I do, I don't really, need to work with anyone else. Oh, Shines is here. All right, Shines, you want to tell this story? Maybe I got some stuff wrong.
Sorry. No, like basically anything Tau says is correct, and Tau can do no wrong, and Tau is the best I've seen in the game. So that's all.
Shines, come back.
But yeah, it felt fishy. But there's always, I'm always aware at least. There's always two sides to every story. Doesn't mean both sides are right or wrong or whatever. Like sometimes one side is actually just wrong. But
yeah, you're not wrong.
What Shines? Like what else was to it about that story? Like did I miss anything? It was correct, right?
No, I think it was pretty correct. We had timers in Iridia at the time where we had Titans and Supers out in Iridia, and it looked like stuff was kicking off, and then suddenly there was an Init Nix. Was it Nix, I think?
Mhm.
And then
Yeah, it
Tau
wasn't.
convos me. He's like, I'm trying to talk to this fucking Nix pilot, but he keeps rejecting me. And yeah, I think we were busy elsewhere, so I didn't really care too much. If someone's been stupid with a Nix, then let them be stupid with a Nix, I guess.
You know what? Sometimes we let those guys die. You know, you remember that one time when we were in a round of PUBG and the guy jumps into comms, hey, there's a Nix ticket here, and we're like, where exactly? Who is it?
Yeah,
And
how
then ask
many?
all the questions like, is he dead already? Like by the time we talk, maybe so we can forget about it.
She's like, I just found an M24. I don't really want to leave.
Yeah. And then suddenly the guy says like, no, there's hostile caps on grid. Okay, we're forming, right? But yeah.
All right, I'll leave you guys alone now. Sorry.
That's all right. I mean, you can tell like you can tell some good old Init snuff stories. Like you have a good story. And what about F7C? I mean, your nickname
I
on
think,
Twitch is still Honey Monster.
yeah, like I mean F7C. What was that? 3 years ago now, and I think that was you were still Project Mayhem at the time, Tao, weren't you? It was Project Mayhem with
Lost your Titan.
yeah, in
Yeah,
F7C.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, that was like I think that was probably one of the first big fights that we took as Init and Snuff together, and like really kind
Yeah,
of
probably.
took on the blob, so to speak, and like that was cool. And I mean, I always enjoy working with Snuff. I think that everyone in Init knows at this stage because like those guys are good at what they do, and when they're set out to kill something, it usually dies, which is a lot of fun. So yeah. There's been a lot of fleet stench through the years. Like it was it 3-4 years now. We're kind of working on and off together, and it usually works out well.
You know what? F7C, that fight, it feels like it was a bonding experience, you know, for Snuff and Init together. Because that was an epic fight. It was a really good one. Even though we lost the Titan. We lost the Titan in a fight, and everyone's like, that was a great fight.
I think it was High we coordinated at that stage. I don't think we had really spoken to Tau too much, but my favorite part of the F7C thing was when all the dread bombs were coming in on top of each other, and Bliss says to High, what was it he called it? Blunderbuss? Hi, we're gonna blunderbuss in a second. Get ready.
That is so Bliss, though.
And High is like, what the fuck is a blunderbuss? I don't know what's gonna happen. And then suddenly, yeah, the Titans come in. So I think that was a surprise for Snuff. They didn't really know what was about to happen. But yeah,
You know
it
what?
was good.
That is so Bliss, though, right? So he says that knowing nobody's gonna understand it, and he's just sitting there with a smile, ha ha ha. You know, that's exactly how he is. And then obviously for the guys that might be listening, so what happened in F7C, actually, it's like a great story, and there was actually supposed to be a good video made of it, and the story like proper told, but it was never done. But what happened actually, we only formed and engaged thinking, okay, now we can force NC to travel all that route, and then we can disengage and say, haha, made you form, right? That was like that was the first thought, because we were outnumbered like shit. But NC wasn't there on grid yet, so we took the fight, and then it developed into a fight that was actually winnable, to my surprise at least, right? So we stayed in the fight, and then it developed into like one side, I forgot how exactly it worked out, but like one side fielding caps, like a couple dreads, then the other side a shit ton of carriers, and then another dread bomb and a counter dread bomb, and suddenly there's such a dread blob that we called in the blunderbuss, how Bliss called it, and it was at the time fairly new. Like there was 4 boson titans that would just jump in and try to boson in the entire dread group. And one of those dreads is Honey Monster, right? That's actually yeah, that's actually Honey Monster is actually Darkshine's Titan. And that Titan we couldn't free of tackle anymore. And C was on the way with Supers and Titans. And that's what we talked about earlier, right? With tie-dye. Imagine there was no tie-dye in that fight. They would have never caught these guys. Like, Honey Monster would still be alive. But we were caught in deep tie-dye, so kill speed is so low, you can't really get rid of the tackle in that time. And they have all the time in the world to travel down. And then Honey Monster died. But I think the A-score was still 50-50 at the end, even though we lost the Titan. So
we were short by about 40 bill, but like it was
peanuts in that fight.
It was 370 bill loss versus 370 bill, 340 bill killed or something, and we were outnumbered 3-1. So
yeah, it kind of sounds right.
Pretty good.
Yeah, that was an epic fight. The Tau High. I'm not sure like who else was there actually.
But I think that's one of the big reasons like groups like us enjoy working with groups like Snuff, and hopefully vice versa, because you've got two fleets of people who kind of know what they're doing, and you don't have to worry that they're going to do something retarded. So I think that's a big helper. It's a nice thing to do, especially for FCs coordinate one another when you know you can rely on the other person to do what they're gonna what they say they're gonna do.
Yeah. That's also like in that fight earlier that I talked about where I whelped a couple Titans and Faction Supers when Snuff is on the way. Like it's it's good to know to have those friends around that are just actually medding and burning their best speed to get on that grid and help you out. Right? Just how it is. It's just good to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tau, were you actually in that fight with, was it Project Mayhem at the time, or were you already...
Yeah, it was still Project Mayhem.
Yeah, it was quite a big group too, right?
Yeah, I think we were getting like 100 people from our max farm or something.
100 people, that's quite sizable.
Yeah.
And then you guys merged into... So that's how it started probably. I'm just assuming now, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. But you guys started working together with High and the guys from Snuff. And then you realized it works like super well. Or did you know each other for a long time before that? And then you merged?
I think we started to work with Snuff in general when we were fighting CO2. It was probably, I don't know when it was, 4 years ago, 5 years ago maybe.
And then you realized they're good dudes?
And then NC moved, or PL moved to Tribute, right? They evicted CO2 and moved to Tribute. And then we moved to, I think we moved to Suggerento from Novula. And then, I don't know, content kind of died for us, and I got tired of a game, so I decided to merge Corps to Snuff.
And so, like, what was the... It's always the thing, right? Project Mayhem was kind of your baby, right? So you built that up, and you got to a sizable group, and apparently, like, something was working right. But to then decide to merge into another group, there must be, like, things must have been working quite well for you to make that decision, right? So what made you think, what's the reason why you merged?
I mean, it's the same thing what we did with Snuff, right? When we like kind of disbanded, because there was no like kind of content for us, and we were not really having fun on this game anymore. So we just kind of closed on the Alliance. And same happened to Project Mayhem. I wasn't having fun in this game, and there was no reason for me to run an Alliance.
Were you the Alliance leader in Project Mayhem, Tau, or was it someone else?
Well, it's kind of tricky thing about it. Project Mayhem was made in kind of joke way, because we were sitting drunk in TeamSpeak and we were making jokes about Alliance tournament. That's how we made Alliance Project Mayhem.
Nice.
And then suddenly I started to FC big fleets. We started to recruiting more and more people.
You know what? Alliance tournament is another thing. I've never been in an Alliance tournament, but I hope they're gonna bring that one back, huh?
It'd be nice if they did. I've been in it a few times, like casually. I don't like nowhere near the effort a lot of teams put in, but it's always fun to do.
Yeah, you know what? I always feel like I personally also underestimated the cultural, not cultural, like what's the right word? Like it has always been an event for the rest of the game too. And even at the times when it was predictable who was gonna win, right? The Hydra PL kind of times, you know, even then it was always a little bit of an event. There was like funny ads going on and all that stuff. So, I think it's underestimated how important the Alliance tournament actually was.
I think it was kind of nice because even though people had teams, like obviously Init would have a team or PL would have a team, Project Mayhem, and everyone had their teams, but it wasn't really a case of everyone always shouting for their side. Like Init didn't always shout for Goons. Like it was very interesting to watch and not really have a side other than your own alliance. And I think that was something that was quite interesting about it because everybody was kind of in the same boat. You were just usually a spectator, and it was fun to watch because you weren't ever quite sure what was going to happen. Like I know Tacker when he did it, didn't they kill the
A
PL with
U2 or
Natana?
something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So like, there's all that unexpected stuff, which is, it's pretty fun to watch, and the amount of work that you guys as FCs know how much work goes into ops and stuff, like different things that you plan from day to day. But I mean, I've seen a glimpse behind the scenes of what people do for the AT stuff, and it even makes me kind of shiver a little bit how much effort, and dedication people put into stuff like that. And it's nice to see it pay off when everybody's watching as well.
Yeah, you know what? That's always what stopped me doing it. That's why I never did AT stuff, because I always thought I'm the type that, who wants to have everything perfectly organized and whatnot. And I would put in so much, it would be so much time and effort that I would have to put in. It's just a crazy amount, you know what I mean? Like if you really want to go far, and I think if I would join the AT, I would want to, give it all, and that would be just like I never had the energy left to do it, because technically if you want to win, you're not doing anything else. You're doing AT stuff. You know what I mean? That's why like people like, I think a lot of people in PL or a lot of people like Hydra and stuff like this, like there's alliances or corps that didn't do anything else like all year round. Basically, they're only active and in the game for the AT, and that's just I just always felt like it's gonna cost me too much energy and stuff. And casually, I've never been a big fan of it, but
It's fun to watch, but like
yeah.
it's hard to, when you do something like, I don't know, in Eve, I think when you pick a role to do that role to the fullest, you can't really do anything else. I mean, Tao, like you kind of FC and you only FC, right? Do you do alliance logistics? Do you do any of that stuff, or do you have people for that?
I mean, everyone can ping for kind of jump right around. Whenever I'm moving stuff for myself, I'm pinging entire alliance, so they can, put some couriers to me as well, and I will move it for.
Okay. But like for the most part, like a lot of what you do is like you log in and you UFC or you PvP, right? You're kind of focused on a certain thing. Like it's very hard to dedicate time away from something you're already doing.
Well, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Tao always steals people's couriers. What?
That
For a
True.
sounds
teaser?
like there's a good story behind it. Maybe that's why he wanted you banned.
That's how I'm making money to Plex my.
I think that's fair enough.
Hey, maybe I should start doing that. Sounds like there's good money in that. But I was like, is it a long-term thing, right? How long are you gonna have careers to steal? I think that source is gonna dry out quick. Either stealing careers or playing League of Legends. Come on, Tao, you're not playing League of Legends.
I am actually.
Oh, I can't imagine the rage. League of Legends are all MOBAs that just bring out the worst in people.
Well, I actually rage quitted today from League.
I had to stop playing MOBAs because it's too easy to get so angry at them.
It is, yeah. Did you ever rage quit from Eve though? You did, right?
Yeah.
Why? I want to hear the story. Why did you rage quit? What did you do?
Usually because people are doing like retarded things.
Where that happens regularly?
I mean, back in PM days, it was happening a lot. I mean, it's always happening when you're mass recruiting.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's always that one guy.
Yeah. You have that important op on, and then suddenly the ping goes on, Rocker tackles. That definitely never happened to us, right, Chance?
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of happened today, but it was a kind of combat looting Rocker, I guess. So he wasn't mining or anything. But yeah, people getting tackled in weird spots at the wrong time. Yeah. You know what? The only thing that ever made me rage to a degree, I would say, is like rock art saves and when people are demanding on top of it, you know? So, like you saved that rock art, but he still gives you attitude. Like, you only saved one of my 5 rock arts, for example, or like you only saved 4 of the 5. One of them died. Do I get SRP? Stuff like this, right? Or they give like wrong enter sign or inhib stuff and all that, like the typical dumb rock art shit, you know? And then you try to save him and he's still not happy about it. And then you form even 150 people and he's still mad about it, doesn't even realize 150 people just form to fucking save his assets. He's like unthankful, you know? That's where I kind of get close to raging at least.
I know one thing that can make Tower rage.
Oh, what is it?
The thought of dropping a keep star in Rocket Pass.
No, everyone knows, like, if someone gonna drop like from Snuff Keepstar and Rakapas or somewhere, I'm gonna pay to someone to actually keep.
To kill it.
Yeah, Snuff never not gonna have a Keepstar.
What about if
Never say
Giannis wants
never.
a keep star?
What chance?
What if Giannis wants a keep star in Rocket Pass?
Well, he can put his dreams into his little hole.
All right. Guys, if you have any questions, like I usually aim for like the around 2 hours, and I know Tom's probably tired. Like he's in, like, you're in Russia, right?
No, I'm in Lithuania right now.
Lithuania. But yeah. So, like I'm just guessing after today, you're probably tired anyway. We're approaching the 2 hour mark, so if anyone has any good questions, like anything really, then put them in chat, and we'll see if the Tau wants to answer, or if any one of us can answer. But other than that, I had to beg you for like 3 weeks at least, maybe a month, to finally come on. So thanks, you actually came on, even though it was a little
Blame
complicated.
Citadels, okay? Not me. Thank you.
All right, fuck the Citadels. I always said Citadels are the #1 issue now. I mean, Supers and Titans, they got their nerf, so I think Citadels should get it next. Can Tau remember the first fleet he ever FC'd? Can you?
I don't know. It was probably in 2010. I don't even remember.
But so that's the thing, right? I do not remember the first fleet I ever FC'd, but what's the first fleet that you really remember? Like the first, like, where you came home and you said, like, fuck yeah. Do you remember that?
The thing is, when I started to play Neve, like, I was like typical Hesek crab, for like. Then I found out that some of my friends are living in Lowsec, close to me, so I moved to Lowsec. And what we were doing is we were camping the gates 24 hours. And whenever, like, and it was back in the time when you just warp into a first belt and you finding PvP instantly. So it was very good times, and like all of us had like 3 or 4 accounts, so we were like all multi-boxing and stuff, and one of our guys were running 6 guardians. So yeah, it was
One
good
of your
times.
guys ran 6 guardians.
Yeah, we were running 6 guardians.
That's
He had
craziness.
six sides on guardians. Yeah.
Or was
That's
it
crazy.
Was it input broadcasting at the time though?
No.
That's crazy. Like they're not going to be as effective as six normal people, right?
Yeah, exactly. But still, like we were like probably 5 or 6 actual people.
No. Right. So let's see. Can you ask Tao if we can anchor keeps in Pinnacusto? Okay, that's what you already answered, I guess. But Tao, when will Hai want to go back to kissing boys? So he's good at Eve again. Never, probably. Alright, what else do we have? How would you like banning Supers Titans from fighting, aggressing, doing anything in low sec? So normal caps only. Just your opinions.
I mean, no one really using Super Titans in low sec anymore, right? I mean, even before patch, no one was really using them.
They're rare, but it's always a factor. Alright.
Well,
What would you
true.
think though? Well, so your argument would be nothing would change if Supers and Titans couldn't enter low sec?
In the current state, no, nothing gonna change.
Yeah. Maybe nothing obvious, right? But I mean, it's always a passive threat. So someone who engages you guys, let's say you have 50 dreads, they have 50 dreads, but they know they're in range to your super cap staging. You know, it might just be a factor of them saying, no, never mind, we're not gonna, take the fight in the first place.
Well, it's kind of useful to have supers and titans because and for example, when you're fighting someone big, and the dread fight escalating to a super fight, so like which is forcing you to drop your supers as well, but it's never really gonna happen in low sec.
It would cripple bridging, obviously. That is a good point, actually. I didn't even think of that. So if you didn't have any Titan bridges, what about that? Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? That's a little weird.
Well, you can remove Titan bridges, but bring Consimblex bridges to low sec.
You want anti-blexes in low sec?
Yeah, but I want to travel from one side if to another in like 5 minutes as well.
I don't think you want that.
For a simple agreement with Snuff, we can get you set up on our jump bridge, Tao, if you want.
No.
A cheap 10 bill a month gets you jump bridge access.
Okay, I can sign this agreement for 1 month, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna evoke your orcs and super sec.
Yeah, no. Forget the money. You're not allowed to shoot Molochs. That's all.
We're gonna send the Yonis to do it.
Want to sell Moloch, by the way. Hey, at least this time it's after the patch. Alright. And I guess that was it for the questions. Then I would say, Tao, thanks again. Much appreciated.
Yeah, thanks for calling me.
See you on Grid, right?
Don't blob us anymore, please. Thank you.
Oh, I'll blob you guys. After that fight, I have to get a fight with you guys.
Well, okay, sure, but don't blob us. Yeah, thank you.
Like, what else am I gonna do?
I'll bring Titans.
No, bring dreads and we both have good times.
We'll have some good fights. I think, obviously, like I said before, when you have dreads and we don't, then we have to kinda, even it out with subs. But yeah, we'll see. We'll have some good fights, I'm sure.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
So thanks again, and then the guys on stream, thanks for the subs and bits and whatnot. And I think there was donations there. I didn't see it pop up, but there was a weird voice coming up and I don't know what that was. So I might have to check that in a minute. But thanks a lot, guys. Thanks also for tuning in. Much appreciated. Those episodes also all go up on Spotify and all that stuff. So if you prefer to just like listen to stuff while you work out or do whatever, you know, check that one out. And yeah, see you guys around. Yo.
Bye bye.